I was feeling sad and kinda blue. I didn't know what I was gonna do. Them communists was a-coming around. They was in the air, they was on the ground, they was all over. Hi, welcome to Visions of Dylan, the stories behind the songs. My name is Darren Fisher and I'm a songwriter. In this series I'm exploring the wonderful songwriting of Bob Dylan. Today I'm going to be having a look at a song called Talkin John Birch Blues. It's a talking blues, very much like we've already heard with Talking New York and Talking Bear Mountain Picnic. They're very similar songs actually, but what separates them is the lyrical content. And within these three songs we can chart the progress of Dylan's writing. I think he's improving all the time. So by the time we get to John Birch, he's writing a really incredible satire of what is a really dark era of American history. So he's making fun of the McCarthy witch hunts of post-World War II America. And if you don't know what these are a time when the political establishment was attacking anybody on the kind of the socialist stroke communist side of the political spectrum, even with tenuous links if people had, and ostracizing them from society. So they were very paranoid, very fearful of any idea which came from a different political source than the kind of the mainstream. I think we still have that today as well. We still have that paranoia. I think the right has that paranoia of another system coming along that has better ideas. And it seems that it stamps it out all the time. You know, it won't let it come through. It's I'm going off on a political tangent here. I shouldn't be doing that probably. But that's the beauty of Dylan's songs, is that he does do that. He makes you think about what the songs meant in his time, but then what the songs mean in our time. And he's giving us a songbook of a revolution, and it's incredible. And the more we get into Dylan in his early years, the more we'll find that out. So, yeah, so he's making a point. He's making a point about the absurdity of and the paranoia that the right wing had at this stage towards the left. So, and the John Birch Society were a right wing kind of a group. A cult, I guess, they were very kind of non-progressive, and they had a real big thing, a hatred of the left. They accused McCarthy of being a communist, I think. So a lot of they were quite, they came out with some really wacky things sometimes. I think they were a little bit wacky, to be honest. Maybe still are. So again, yeah, I'm not going to go down that one. So that's kind of what the song's all about, really. It's just kind of making fun of a dark situation, trying to make light of it, and he does a really good job, I think. So why wasn't it included in the Freewheeling album? Well, it was going to be. He had it all lined up to be on the album. I think the album was actually pressed and ready to be released. And then before the album was released, he was due to perform on the Ed Sullivan Show, which was massive. Ed Sullivan was a show in the 60s, that in the 50s it broke Elvis, and it was a big deal. It was a very big deal. And so he's due to perform on this, and he chooses this song to perform, which is quite brave in itself, because he's choosing a song which is going to go on national television, where he's making fun of the mainstream kind of thought process for their paranoia towards the left. What a brave thing to have done. He could have played many other songs, but he chose this one. But the censors didn't like it, so they said, yeah, you're gonna have to change that song because we're afraid we might get sued by the John Birch Society. And Dylan simply was like, nah, not having that, and he walks off the set. He just leaves the building. Which is an amazing thing to have done. I really admire that. What a great stand that was. So, he could have turned around and said, okay, yeah, I did want to play that, but okay. okay, I got a song called Blowing in the Wind. I'll play that one instead. And you probably should have done that one, because that would have been the song which would have got a lot of new fans, I think. But that's the song. That's what I would have done probably, and that's why Dylan is Dylan and I'm me, because Dylan's like, nah, if I can't play that song, I'm not playing any songs, and he walks off a set. So and on the back of that, that word got out there and what Dylan did. And so that boosted his kind of reputation as a songwriter of integrity and stuff, So it didn't do him any harm at all. In fact, it did him a lot of good, because now he's got attitude and he's building up this kind of rebel image. He's not to be messed with. So the myth of Bob Dylan is growing and growing all the time. So his record label gets wind of this as well, and they say, we're not going to release the record now, actually, Bob, because it's got Talkin John Birch Blues on. We'll have to recut it, and then you have to take that song off the album. And Dylan didn't want to do it, but he had no choice really, because he was just a starting songwriter. He didn't really have any power towards the record label at this stage, so he had to say, okay, I don't want to, but okay. But he used this opportunity to jig the album around, and he threw out some of the songs which he felt he'd already outgrown. Now, we're going to go into a period of Dylan's songwriting where he's continually writing so many songs that he almost outgrows them by the time he's written them, and he's just, you'll see. And so he throws away some of the songs which he thought were a little bit not as good as the other songs on the album, he thought. And he brought in some new songs. Interestingly, the songs which he brought in are all songs which are variations of traditional British folk songs. So he went over to England in 62 and was due to perform on a BBC show. And whilst he was in London, he went to some folk clubs where he learnt lots of British and Irish folk songs. He then took them back to America, and he arranged them in his own little arrangement and rewrote the words for them, and they became classic Bob Dylan songs as we know them, like Bob Dylan's Dream, Good Love from North Country, and Masters of War. And that's the 3 songs which he put on. And so people, it's quite a good move really, because people wouldn't know in America that these were British folk songs. So for everyone to listen, they were totally new songs that Dylan had just written himself. So it was quite a good move really. And he'll go on and he does this a lot. So we'll find out there's quite a lot of Dylan songs which are kind of inspired or kind of variations of traditional folk songs. So that's pretty much the kind of the story behind that. The album, the freewheeling album that has got a copy of Talkin John Birch Blues is worth about $20,000 now, I think. So if you've got a copy of that, keep hold of that. I wish I had one. So I think without further ado, I'm going to play the song. I'm going to do a slightly different version than Dylan. I'm going to change the rhythm a little bit, and I'll sing it a little bit and talk it a little bit. Do kind of a bit of half and half. So here is Talkin John Birch Blues. I was feeling sad and kinda blue. I didn't know what I was gonna do. Them communists was coming around. They was in the air, they was on the ground, they was all over. So I ran down most hurriedly. I joined the John Birch Society. I got me a secret membership card, and I went back home to the yard. Started looking on the sidewalk, under the hedges. Woke up in the morning, looked under my bed. I was looking every place for them goddamn reds. Looked behind, cold under the floor. Within the glove compartment of my car, I couldn't find any. Looked behind my clothes, behind my chair. I was looking for them reds everywhere. I looked up my chimney hole. Even deep down inside my toilet bowl, they got away. footsteps by my front porch door, so I grabbed my shotgun from the floor. I snuck around the house with a huff and a hiss, saying, "Hands up, you communist." It was the mailman. He punched me out. I was sitting home alone and I started to sweat. I figured they was in my TV set. Now I peeped behind the picture frame. Got a shot from my feet that hit my brain. Them Reds did it. Hurting, I need television. I quit my job so I could work alone. I got a magnifying glass like Sherlock Holmes. I followed some clues from my detective bag. I discovered red stripes on the American flag. Betsy Ross, that's who designed the flag. Yeah, she was one of them. Eisenhower, he's a Russian spy, and Lincoln and Jefferson and that Roosevelt guy. To my knowledge, there's just one man that's really and truly an American, and that's George Lincoln Rockwell. I know for a fact he hates commies because he picketed the movie Exodus whilst wearing a Nazi uniform. I finally started thinking straight when I ran out of things to investigate. I couldn't imagine nothing else, so now I'm home alone investigating myself, and I hope I don't find out too much. Good God.